In the first video of this course, I spoke to you about my sexual story, and I said one of the big problems that I went through was performance anxiety. That, I'd have this girl in front of me, I had done the hard part of the work, I had, pulled her from the club or from Tinder, that's the hardest part. It should be now time to enjoy myself, she's on my bed, and my dick would be just full soft. It's one of the worst things that can happen in terms of your sex life, especially if it happens, often, which it was for me. It's kind of like this death loop, this cycle from hell, because when it happens, or the more it happens, the more likely it's gonna happen again. Because if it happens once, it's it's kind of scary, and the experience with this girl is kind of ruined, and she goes and you feel like shit. Then the next time you bring a girl over, it's kind of in your mind like, oh shit, I hope that doesn't happen again. And what do you think thinking like that is going to lead to? And so when that's stacked up a few times, you almost can't help but to really just take yourself out of the situation, not even enjoy yourself, not even feel horny, because you're actually worried that you're not going to get hard. And it's with that thought that you don't get hard. It's one of honestly one of the worst experiences as a guy, because your ability to perform sexually and to get an erection, it kind of symbolizes your manhood, your life. It really is something so important to us. Remember how weirdly important your dick and balls used to be when you were a child. It was your own sort of private area. It was you were finding it, and your ability to get an erection is the most important part of that. To not get that when it's needed, it's so fucking sad, man. And of course then you take into account the girl thinks that she's the problem. She thinks that it's her fault that she's not attractive, that maybe you lash out on her, and then you don't see her again, and you're just pissed off that you've lost this opportunity, this experience, even though you kind of did the right thing. You pulled her, you brought her back. So I experienced this with many girls, and I told my story on the first video of this course, so I'm not gonna go into the full details again of what exactly was happening, but I'm just gonna practically tell you exactly what I did to fix this. And it is a fix. This is not just an improvement, it's a fix. This doesn't happen to me anymore. My dick doesn't get soft, and it doesn't get hard anymore. It hasn't happened for a very long time, which I'm so fucking grateful for. So I'm gonna walk you through the exact process that I went through, and I think it's really gonna change your life if this is something you're experiencing. What I did, which is such a remarkable mindset, was that I said, okay, this is the trajectory to go forward to fix this. First, I need to figure out if this is a physical or psychological problem. So first, let's rule out the physical aspect. Let's rule out if this could potentially be a physical problem. Essentially, this would happen because of low testosterone or something physically wrong with the ligaments in your dick, the muscles around, who knows, whatever the biological term, it's the ligaments or the blood or whatever. Okay, we're first gonna find out if there's a physical problem, and we can do this very easily. We just need to ask you, do you wake up with morning wood? Yes or no? And of course, it doesn't have to happen every day, but let's say, do you get morning wood, when your eyes open, is your dick hard for at least 2 days per week, 2 to 3 days per week at least? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, then potentially it's not physical. Let's just ask one more question. Can you jack off by yourself and get hard? Let's say you were in the comfort of your own bedroom, you put on porn on your phone or some shit and just started literally wanking, just started fapping. Would your dick get hard? Because for the majority of guys, they'd say well, yeah, of course. Now for some guys, they might say no, I would do it and my dick would stay relatively soft. It would get somewhat of an erection, maybe a semi or something, maybe 60% hard, but not how it used to. So if you're in that camp right now and you can see shit my problem is physical, that my dick wouldn't get hard in the morning, morning wood, and my dick wouldn't even get fully hard when I watch porn or anything and I try and masturbate myself, then we just need to fix this physical problem. And literally it's such a simple fix. You've simply just spent too long masturbating with a hard grip on your hand. When you think about how a pussy feels on your dick, it's it's a very soft, wet feeling. It's a very gentle feeling, a girl's pussy. Even girls who are tight, even them, they're still looser than your iron grip fist, which we usually don't put any lube on. And you've got to think we've been aggressively jacking off what, every single day for 5 years, 10 years. So it's gonna take a little bit of time. But essentially the way to fix the physical problem for the majority of guys is that you need to literally just stop masturbating, especially with such a hard grip, for a reasonable amount of time. A couple of weeks, let's say 2 weeks of no masturbation, you will feel a significant difference in your erection strength. Be honest, if you're a guy who very consistently faps, you fap at least a few times a week, and you're seeing that your erection doesn't get fully hard, maybe you're a guy who faps every single day. Of course, you should get onto NoFap, and you know that already, but I'm not gonna waste your time and tell you about that because you already know what NoFap is. What I would say is that, getting onto NoFap fully to the point that you don't masturbate for weeks at a time, it's actually kind of difficult. It takes a while to get there. So if you are currently fapping every single day and your dick doesn't get fully hard, what I would highly suggest you to do is switch over the way that you fap. So continue if you want. I don't think you should, but obviously you need to kind of progressively deload, make progress slowly away from this. So continue, but just do this one favor for yourself. Use lube and use a lighter grip. Instead of gripping it fully and masturbating in the way that you're doing right now, which is clearly leading to a sort of softer, weaker erection. Slow slow it down and use like a looser grip of like kind of like this with just your thumb and fingers, and don't squeeze, just kind of like slowly do it. And you know, obviously this isn't the best case scenario. Best case scenario is just stop fapping. Literally most of your problems in terms of physical problems and even psychological problems will literally just come from stop fapping and stop watching porn. So hopefully you can push towards that. That should be your goal. And you must know that to get onto nofap actually takes years. Most guys on YouTube will fucking lie to you and they'll just kind of tell you the benefits of nofap day 1, day 2. Bro, I'll never tell you that shit, because the reality of nofap is that we're trying to counteract a habit that we've had for 5 years, for 10 years. And so of course to get onto nofap to the point that, okay, we don't masturbate or watch porn like at all, like I'm at this point now, it takes years, bro. It takes at least about a year to get to the point where like you're done with fapping and porn. So it's a slow process. You'll mess up so many times, you'll relapse, you hate yourself and everything, but as long as you have the intention of nofap, you'll keep experiencing this kind of annoyance of like, you know, you keep fapping, oh, I keep resetting my streak. But eventually you'll kind of look back and be like, oh fuck, like I discovered nofap 3 years ago and now like I barely even fap at all. Like, yeah, but I don't even watch porn. Porn's like fucking disgusting. It's bad for you. Some time needs to elapse for you to like fully get onto nofap, and that will cure most of your sexual problems. Another big reason why your dick might not be getting hard, like a physical reason. Let's say that your dick has the physical problem. So like, you know, you can watch porn, but your dick doesn't get fully hard, but you don't really masturbate. So you don't masturbate, but there's a physical reason why your dick's not getting hard, because you can't even get hard when you watch porn in the comfort of your own room. And of course, you shouldn't really watch porn, but we're just saying it for this example, that even if you start masturbating by yourself, you wouldn't be able to get hard. That means it's a physical issue. There's 2 other reasons, and those are testosterone and sleep/general health. And so these are more like, you know, general videos that you can watch on my channel on YouTube or the YouTuber First Man. Essentially, you might have like very low testosterone and therefore have low libido and low erectile strength. And then things like sleep, diet, sunlight, those things can affect your erection strength as well. So pretty much improve your physical health through those things that you know, like exercise, sunlight, good sleep, nutrition, and your dick will actually improve as well. Like your dick's strength will actually improve. The physical issues are hard to overcome, but that's where discipline is required. Like discipline's just the skill of doing hard things even when you don't really feel like doing them. So you just need discipline to get your dick strength back. If it is a physical issue and you know you don't wake up with morning wood, for example, it's literally just because, I'm gonna be totally honest, it's because you've been lacking discipline in these like key areas. You've been lacking discipline because you've just been on nofap. You've been lacking discipline with your shitty diet, and you're probably thinking, oh, my diet's not too bad, I eat carbs and protein. And no, don't listen to this fitness influencer bullshit, bro. If you're eating a bunch of processed shitty food, you're putting pizzas in the oven, you're buying fast food and stuff, bro, of course your dick's gonna have less strength if you're eating that shit compared to like lean proteins, fats and vegetables. If you're coming too much, if you're masturbating too much, then of course your dick's gonna have problems. You need to invoke some discipline right now and think, okay, fuck, I need to change my life because this is fucking embarrassing and I'm not living like this anymore. Invoke some discipline and get rid of these like bad habits that you have. That's easier said than done, but the rest of my channel is really about this. Now let's talk about psychological problems. Let's say, for example, you wake up and you have morning wood when you wake up. Let's say you can masturbate or watch porn or even think about like sexy things and you can get an erection, but it just seems to be with the extra pressure of being in front of a girl that's when you can't get one. So by yourself, you can get an erection just fine. Like if you started stroking your dick whilst, you know, thinking something sexy or like looking at some content if you wanted to, right, you'd be able to get hard, which means that you're physically fine. Like your dick's showing a physical strength. It's just more of a mental, psychological thing that when you're in front of a girl. And this was my problem a few years ago when I was going through that shit and, you know, I couldn't get hard in front of a girl. It was all psychological because I could get hard by myself and I could get hard with like certain girls if I was in like a very comfortable state, but with a new girl especially, I just, you know, felt so much more sort of anxiety, tense and overthinking. I have experienced the physical problem, and one key memory comes to mind. It was actually just at the start of my nofap journey. Like I discovered nofap and, you know, I was somewhat like, oh, you're whatever. And I remember masturbating like a lot, like 3 times a day consistently, till this one point when my dick didn't even get hard by the time I finished. So imagine I'm fapping and then my dick was literally like still like barely a semi, and that's when I come. And I just remember just looking at this sorry little floppy dick and just thinking like, fuck me, man, I'm 17 years old and that's embarrassing, that's wrong. So that was the physical problem I had. Going on nofap fixed it for me. And of course nofap takes like a little while, so it wasn't instant, but you know, it takes a little while. The psychological problem, I think it's more relentless, because the physical problems, like, yeah, literally just go onto nofap and make sure your testosterone's okay, make sure you're not just eating pure junk food, or even if you eat junk food, your dick will still get hard and everything, but just make sure you're not like living like a total like unhealthy motherfucker. With the psychological problems, you can still be physically healthy, but it's all about your mental perception and sort of anxiety of the moments. So psychologically, you feel fine and comfortable when you're just by yourself in your room, and that's why you can get hard. But the extra pressure of being in front of a girl makes it so it's much harder to get hard. And so there was a way that I fixed this. And at the time, I was researching about this, and a lot of people suggested to meditate when I would search for this stuff online for advice for this like psychological performance anxiety. And meditation would have worked, but I was 19, 20 years old. I didn't follow that advice. What I did realize by myself was that it was simply just the extra sort of heightened emotions and, excitement and nervousness of this situation, and how much extra emphasis I was placing on this situation with this girl. Because think about it, okay, my dick would get hard with a girl that I'd already slept with a bunch of times and I felt comfortable with, and she wasn't that attractive or anything, so there was no pressure. But I was placing more pressure in my mind when I was sleeping with a new girl. And that's natural because, it's a new experience, you don't know her, you want to perform well and everything. But that extra pressure then led to that performance anxiety. So something clicked in my mind and I thought, wait, what if I just kind of hack my brain to take that pressure away? What if I convince my brain that she isn't special? And I'm going to give you the controversial advice, which did work for me. And it's kind of negative, but I'm just going to tell you with total authenticity. When I began sleeping with new girls and I knew that, oh shit, I'm probably going to get performance anxiety, I would in my mind drill in that they weren't shit. This is just the truth. In my mind, I would drill into, I would say the words like, yeah, she's not even that attractive. Yeah, she's kind of ugly, whatever. Just fuck her and it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter about fucking her. I don't even want to see her again anyway. I would shit talk her in my mind to sort of deflate her perceived value and status so that it wasn't put on a pedestal, which naturally we do as guys who are quite young and, quite new to getting girls. This isn't healthy at all, but it was the fastest cure that I had. That there and then I would just kind of rephrase in my mind, yeah, she's not even that attractive, whatever. I'll just chuck a fuck into her and I won't even care or anything. It's not healthy, but it worked. And then as I got more and more sort of better and sort of more calm within myself and less pressure, I kind of twisted this around and changed what I was saying in my mind to be more sort of collaborative instead of hostile. So instead of saying oh yeah, she's she ain't shit and whatever, because that did work, but it didn't make me feel good. And I actually didn't like thinking that way about the girl that I was sleeping with, because it made me not like her and not want to be with, do you know what I mean? So it's quite negative. Literally saying the words in my mind of yeah, me and her are awesome. Yeah, we've been friends for ages. Yeah, I'm so comfortable. I was just kind of drilling these fake words, and so I've only just met her today. I'd bring a girl back from the club, and I'd literally be saying words in my mind of oh yeah, we've been friends for ages. I feel so comfortable around her and stuff. Yeah, we're really good friends and stuff. Yeah, and that actually helped more than you think it did. And then the final belief that really helped, that would click in my mind was, oh yeah, if I can't even get hard, it's fine. I don't even care. If I can't even get hard, it's fine, because you know what? I'll just cuddle anyway. I'll cuddle, and I know that sometime in the middle of the night, I'll end up fucking. Right now, there's a bit of pressure. Yeah, I feel a little bit anxious. Yeah, fine. But in the middle of the night, I'll feel a lot better because, we'll cuddle for 4 hours or something, and that's when my dick will get hard, because I won't be panicky still 4 hours from now. All those beliefs combined really significantly helped me through my sort of uni days. And it still somewhat happened. I'm not going to lie. There was still a level of pressure, especially when there was a new, really attractive girl. And so, my dick wouldn't get fully hard, and I needed to take a little while for her to suck me off or anything to get to that point. And, for me to kind of cue normal things in my mind. What really then fixed this problem, because it was still happening near the end of my days in university, what fixed this problem entirely was meditation. I'll be totally honest with you, it was literally just meditation. There's no special thing that I did. I literally just found meditation. I followed, the apps that you can download. And I literally just got into doing that consistently, not so much for this, but just in general, just for mental health. I discovered it. I started doing it 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, 1 hour a day. And then I remember after around 6 months of doing meditation and not sleeping with any girls, because this was the start of COVID and I was on monk mode through lockdown, I slept with my first girl in September 2020, my first girl for a while. And I remember thinking oh wait, am I gonna get hard with this girl? It was kind of apparent we were gonna fuck that day. I was thinking, wait, am I gonna get hard? Is my dick gonna be soft or something? Then I thought, you know what, no, I've been meditating, my physical health is really good, I've been sleeping right and everything, I've not been masturbating, I've been on NoFap, and I guarantee I'll be good. Now of course that sort of verbal cue would have helped, but literally sleeping with this new girl who I've not slept with, but also the first time sleeping with any girl for months through the COVID lockdown, that's kind of a big deal because it's been a little while. Absolutely fine, rock hard with her every single time. And that was such a fantastic experience because I was used to this sort of extra heightened anxiety, and I was just able to relax. And it was also in quite an anxious environment because it was in a car at nighttime next to the woods and everything. My first ever time in a car, and perhaps one of the first times of being outside as well. girl, and my dick was absolutely rock hard. And then I remember that every girl after that, so this was 2 years ago, but every single girl after that, bro, absolutely no problems getting hard because I consistently meditate. If you consistently meditate and you also have decent physical health and you don't jack off, you're not really going to experience much performance anxiety or, like erectile dysfunction. It really comes down to those things. And I know this can sound a little bit condescending because I'm just saying, yeah, don't fap and, eat clean and meditate. But chances are, if you don't like this advice right now and you're saying, no, it wouldn't work for me, chances are you simply haven't tried it for long enough. You probably tried to meditate like 3 times and then your dick still didn't get hard and you're like, oh, well, yeah, it didn't work. Meditation is not something that you should try for this specific outcome. It's something that you should just do every single day for the rest of your life because the benefits of it are enormous. And the same with improving your physical health and not masturbating every single day, watching porn, eating like weird processed junk food that you get from the supermarket or fast food, or leaving 6 hours a night for sleep. You fix your diet, you fix your sleep, you stop watching porn, and you start meditating every day, and I guarantee you will eliminate 95% of your performance anxiety and erectile dysfunction.